What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Anime Outside the Box. Now, as most of you didn't know, but some of you probably did know, Fire Force is my favorite anime ever. Next to the GOAT, One Piece, of course, but an extremely close number 2. And I don't read the manga personally, but I do watch the anime, and they just dropped season 3, and it's an emotional roller coaster. And I just wanted to talk about it today, so let's get right into it. Because this roller coaster ride starts out with Himea crying her eyes out at the top of her lungs as she collects what's later on to be called the collective conscience. And my boy Charlos, he just can't take that shit no more. She really like a daughter to him, bro. Like, it's hurting his heart to see her have to go through this. Really makes me believe he's gonna switch sides by the end of the anime just so he can see her happy and not have to suffer anymore. In my eyes, Charlos was always a good guy. He's just misled. And I'm not even gonna lie, it seemed like Himea getting fed up with having to do that shit too, fucking with her head. So after that heart-wrenching turn of events, we get a backstory of everything that happened last season from Captain Obi. And after he's done giving this story, you know, Tokyo Empire united, hooray. The military police come banging on the door and Captain Obi gets arrested. What killed me about it is the military police pulled up with white-clad members. Like, they don't even care anymore. It's like if the Illuminati was just walking outside in the daylight. And along with Captain Obi getting arrested, Captain Burns gets fucking manipulated by Himea. She used this new technique called talking head. She could peer into your mind and like she could basically read your mind, bro. And she can fuck with you real bad. Especially because she's already just a master manipulator. And she manipulated the fuck out of Burns. He fell for that shit hook, line, and sinker. That boy got down on one knee like, praise the evangelist. So now not only do we have to defeat the white clad, we gotta box Captain Burns. But we'll get to that in a minute, because back at the 8th, they get the news that Captain Obi has just got arrested, right? And you know, they sliding for their captain no matter what. They all sliding, nigga. Lieutenant Hino will give him that, who's with me? I'm with you, Lieutenant! They're really a family at the 8th. So, of course, this decision comes with all-out chaos. The news spreads like wildfire. Every Fire Force company hears about it, and so do all the people. Some take it lightly, some really don't care, some believe it, some don't. But at the end of the day, the people that are already on their side stay solid, and that's all that matters. You know, like Company 5, Company 7, they some real ones. They'll never turn their back. But anyways, with Company 8 now being outlaws, they have no other choice but to go underground. And who better to go underground with than the Dark Hero himself, Joker. So Leek says whatever and finally spills the beans to the team about how he's been working underground with Joker this entire time. Which just confirms more from what we learned last season, that Joker's not that bad of a guy. And honestly, at this point, they have the whole Tokyo Empire after them. They have no choice but to go into the nether with Joker. So Joker takes them to his little kicking spot looking like a Las Vegas liquor store, and they start brainstorming on how to go about saving Captain Obi. Luckily, Joker already know where he at. A fucking prison. Which, I mean, of course, because he's considered a criminal right now, but Captain Obi is my favorite character. He's not a criminal. Free Captain Obi! Him getting arrested really threw me for a loop. I don't know why. But this is the big rescue. They're gonna go save Captain Obi, right? They split into 2 groups. Well, not really 2 groups. Joker and Shimura go one way, and the rest of the team, they go another way. Same goal in mind. They're just gonna attack it from 2 different fronts, because Joker and Shimura got a one-on-one, well, 2v1. This nigga Burns. And they better be happy this was a 2v1, because that nigga Burns is hot. I mean, so hot that during this fight, we find out why they call this nigga Burns. He has an ability called Voltage Nova. It's a stage-based system. So stage 1, the nigga's hot like a stove. Stage 2, he's hot like the summer. Stage 3, he's hot like volcano. Stage 4, he turns into the sun. Stage 5, he turns into a big-ass sun. And he keeps just getting hotter and hotter as you fight, to the point where you can't even get close to him or you'll get baked. All that strength, but still easily manipulated man. That makes him weak to me. And the fact that Shimura said he's seen Burns as a father figure, come on now. They didn't foreshadow that throughout the whole show at all. I thought he hated Burns, honestly. The manga could just threw that in there to add some emotional depth to the fight, and I know it. With all the chaos going on at the prison, we get a cutaway scene of Hibana doing some research back at the 5th, trying to put together some of the pieces of King Raffles going missing and what happened at her church when she was a kid. You know, like everybody turning infernal except for her and Iris. She finds out the cause of it, which was artificial spontaneous human combustion. In other words, they were putting those bugs in them bitches. Little girls, not bitches, they were little girls. And I know that sounds horribly fucked up, but I promise you, it gets worse. Alright, so now back to the prison. Company 8 come through and just blow the door down. I mean, he literally blew that bitch off the hinges. And they're met by a new group of white clads who we haven't quite been introduced to yet. The Destroyers. The thing about the Destroyers that threw me for a loop is none of them look human. Like, I don't know. It was just weird to me, bro. They're definitely not human. I don't know what they are, but those motherfuckers are not of this earth. They might be from the Adola. It would be really cool if they were like artificially created bodies with doppelgangers put inside of them. I'm pretty sure the evangelist could do some shit like that. I mean, she's God, right? Now, these Destroyers I speak of, they only like to fight fight solo dolo. You feel me? Even if it's a 1v10, they gonna stand 10 toes, 1v10 everybody. And in this situation, that ended up leading to their demise because Hina was shot that bitch gold right in her head. I mean, she did have a bullseye on it. Idiot. And then another destroyer whose name I don't care about got sliced in half by Arthur. So with all that being said, we're in a good place right now. You know what I mean? We just defeated some of the white clad and we're saving Captain Obi. Psych! It's time to put that bug in Captain Obi, turn that boy into an inferno. They did that right at the end of episode 4 with such a cliffhanger. And then you get back to episode 5 and this nigga Captain Obi literally flexed his muscles so tough that the fucking bug couldn't penetrate it. He's a G! Everybody in Company A start yelling shit like, Swole King, you're so buff, keep flexing. Abs like a chocolate bar. And then the white clad throws 3 more bugs on him. And Obi just keep flexing. He's truly a steroid addict. And while the rest of the team is glazing Captain Obi's buff ass, Arthur is locking in. He just felt the presence of a dragon. Yeah, here we go with this dumbass nigga, the stupidest nigga in anime ever to exist. This time he's up against somebody as delusional as he is, a nigga that actually thinks he's a literal dragon. I don't know the guy's backstory. He could actually be a dragon, but him egging Arthur on, just, you know what it did. It increased Arthur's power. But is that enough to take down this dragon he's faced with right now? Dragon man, creature, guy, whatever. No, it's not. That boy Arthur get cooked. I mean, it was a good fight, but his sword didn't put a single scratch on that dragon, and he was getting tossed around like a dildo. The dragon didn't only break his bones, it broke his fucking ego, but we'll get back to that. Leaked, he mentions that the dragon's scales look to be like the flesh of an inferno. And then dragon actually turns into like an infernal type dragon body modification type, I don't know. But what I do know, Arthur Plasma Cape upgrade, 10 out of 10. What I also know is that was a badass whooping, Arthur. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Okay, so back up on the roof, Shinra kicks Captain Burns through like a 12-story building, causing him to go stage 3 supernova. Voltage nova, supernova, whatever, same thing. And this is when that fight starts to heat up, no pun intended. A single punch from Burns can burn directly through the Fire Force army garments. And those things are supposed to be completely fireproof, completely fire resistant. And he burnt through that hole like STD. Only way Shinra could really give him a run for his money was tapping into an Adola link and giving him one of those beyond speed of light kicks. I fucking love those. Like, yeah, Burns, you might be burning pretty hot right now. You might be the sun, nigga, but I'm a black hole. They literally say Shinra has the ability to create a mini black hole. Do you remember when Leak said that? That's crazy. That kid kicked the shit out of Captain Burns, left a hole in his chest. Then that boy got snatched up by his own doppelganger. Humea did him so dirty. She's backdoor, big backdoor Humea. Not only did she manipulate Burns' mind, she sent him out to die. But I ain't gonna lie, I'd be sadistic just like her if I had to gather the collective unconscious. That shit looks like it hurts. Go get snacks right now. Okay, so after Shinra successfully kicks a fat ass hole through Burns' chest and he gets dragged down by his doppelganger, they head back up top to go save Captain Obi. Joker gets the bugs off of him, but Company 8 is still in a pretty tight pickle. Half of them are beat the fuck up and they're surrounded by white clad members with nowhere to go. And just when you think all hope is lost, Ink appears into the future and she sees Company 8 making it out alive. And 2 minutes later, that nigga Moonlight Mask pull up, which is really just Benimaru Shimon. And he wasn't fooling anybody. Everybody knew it was him. But the mask was super hard. I'm not gonna lie. But as we all know, this nigga Benimaru is overly, amazingly, ridiculously powerful. And the glazing and dick riding he gets in the show is just out of this world. I mean, even I glaze him. He's just a cool character. He ends up getting Company A out of that situation with little to no effort. He didn't even break a sweat for real. He actually hasn't broken a sweat the entire show since season 1. Sometimes I hate when animes do that with their most powerful character. They never let him go all out. Like, at least let me see him go all out one time. But yeah, although they did make it out alive, they also got blamed for the murder of Burns. But hey, at this point, they're already criminals. Yeah, roller coaster ride's not over yet. Buckle up, buckle up. Because now we're going to St. Raffles Convent. Yeah, that church where all those little girls burnt alive, turned into infernal. Yeah, that one. And boy, do we find some spicy details there. First to get there is Hibana and one of her little blonde-haired gravel boys. She tells him to stay outside and she goes in that bitch and checks it alone. And she swears up, down, left, right that she's going to avenge her fallen sister. So her plan is to look inside the nether directly underneath the church. So Kareem and the other nigga from the first with no right arm pull up and help her vandalize this church that's already burnt down. They get into the nether and they start to explore what looks like a library. Ironically, a library with 8 pillars in it. Yes, the 8 pillars. Keep up with me. Because this is when it starts to get sick. They start to open the books and look around the library. All the books are books on plants and agriculture. And all around the library, there's bodies of dead insects. So Hibana, she's a smart girl, you know, her brain starts to click. Plants, insects, underground diddy tunnels. This can only mean that we're putting bugs in our food, gang. She almost threw up when she realized that shit. They were putting the infernal bugs in these little girls' broccoli. Eat your broccoli, baby girl. It's good for you. I ain't gonna lie, this anime make you start questioning the church you go to. And you know every church love to give free food. So as soon as Hibana ascends upon this revelation, she gets stabbed in the heart again, metaphorically. Because she turns around and she sees Sister Sumire in this underground fucking Diddy tunnel, and she hasn't aged a day. You're not even black, bitch. You should be cracking. But with the reintroduction of Miss Sumire, we get the explanation behind why people become infernals. It's actually because of doppelgangers. They come over from Adola, they possess a human's body, and that's how an inferno is created. Hey, we found a secret behind human combustion. Bye, anime's over. No, just kidding. We also find out that old Sumire is not only a strong old hag, a fast old hag, but an immortal old hag. She was around before the first great cataclysm, and she has a crazy pyrokinetic ability, bro. She can cause earthquakes. Regulating her body temperature, she can cause her body to shiver. But even with that ability, she shouldn't be able to cause earthquakes. The only reason she can do that is because she has an Adola burst. Yeah, she's the former seventh pillar. We also found out that lady in the black dress that helped Shimura in season 2, she was a former pillar too. But anyways, the trio or quadruplo, there was 4 of them. Quadruplo? Let's say quadruplo. End up getting away from Sumire. They get outside and we get our biggest reveal of the season. The great cataclysm is Adola combining with the earth. They become one, causing mass combustion worldwide. Mass human combustion, land combustion, tree combustion, car combustion. Everything's gonna combust. That's what the white clad mean when they say they want to turn this world into a sun. Truly diabolical. But yeah, after that lore dump, we go right back to Arthur sitting on the porch soaking in his sorrows because he got defeated by Dragon. That shit actually took a toll on him, and after a few fucking stupid ass jokes, him and Vulcan decide to go on a quest. And on his quest to find the sacred ore to form a new Excalibur, Arthur actually goes into the nether and runs across his broke bum ass parents that left him behind. I don't know if y'all remember, but in season 2 we found out that Arthur was abandoned by his parents. They left him with nothing but imagination. They told that nigga he's the king of the fort now. That's how he got this whole goddamn concept in his mind in the first place. And in season 3, these motherfuckers just let us know flat out they were running from debt collectors, bro. They ran to the nether because they was broke. They had to leave Arthur. And for some reason, Arthur's parents know everything about spontaneous human combustion, the white clad, everything. And Arthur's dad claims to just have imagined it all up. And I ain't gonna lie, what was most fucked up about this situation is they had 3 more kids in the nether. They abandoned Arthur, had 3 more kids, and went underground. And Arthur is way too stupid to know this is happening. Like, he doesn't even care. He's too stupid. But stupidity aside, they make Arthur a new blade made out of the head of a rocket. And the shit's sick. I like it. Very fashionable. Now we just gotta see if it can slay a dragon. Oh, and his lame ass parents, they ended up leaving him another letter and going back underground. Okay, so now Shimura, he wants to launch a raid on Adola. In order to do that, he's gonna have to relax his conscious mind and open his third eye. So he goes to none other than Benimaru Shimon, who obviously knows how to do everything. He tells Shimura to focus his mind and become one with the earth. And quiet your spirit. Shimura attempts to do this, and honestly, he falls asleep on the floor in the middle of Asakusa. And in his sleep, he happens to have an Adola link with his little brother Sho. And although it was a short and simple Adola link, it gave Sho the push he needed to finally pursue his brother. So realizing that nothing will survive after he causes the world to burn during this great cataclysm, he decides that he's gonna sneak out to go see his brother like the child he is. Sneaking out is probably the only childish act he's ever got to witness in his childish ass life. And the White Clad did not make it easy. Every time he tried to leave the nether, there was one of them at every corner. Luckily, his faithful slave, Arrow, likes to catch the shit as it falls out of his backside. So she goes ahead and sneaks him outside undetected like a good slave. And he tells her, walk behind me, fine ass slave girl. We're going to see my brother. Arrow, of course, complies, and they head out to go find Big Bro. Okay, so now back at the 8th, they get news from Captain Obi and Captain Hibana that the Great Cataclysm is about to begin. Yes, that means the literal end of the world will start soon. And then one of the most spontaneous things in the whole 3rd season happened, in my opinion, personally. This dumbass mole Scope pops through the floor and gets to telling this daunting ass backstory about how he had a long ass journey through the Oasis. And the stupid ass mole just will not shut up. Literally, it won't shut up. He ran into a Hellhound and knocked that nigga out with an uppercut pyrokinetic ability that he achieved. This nigga was stacking up stats. He even made the Hellhound bow to him and drive him all the way to Tokyo on his back. He said ever since Shinra left, he was digging 1,000 holes a day, stacking up that XP. But honestly, nobody cared about his fucking story, dude. We're going through something right now, cuz. Get to the point. Arthur kicked this nigga across the room like a football and then yanked him up in the air, and him and his sister get to pressing, bro. So he finally gets to spilling the beans on why he came all the way to Tokyo. It was to tell Shinra the last words of the woman in the black. But they cut away from all of that real quick so they can introduce this nigga. Great Cataclysm Executioner Officer, Fairy. Otherwise known as the Guardian with no pillar to look after. Nobody liked him enough to choose his pussy ass. And dog, by season 10, Humei is hearing so many voices in her head, she's going crazy at this point. It's scaring the hell out of me. Okay, so the lady in the black dress, her last words were the Great Cataclysm is on its way. And the reason the last cataclysm failed is because Pi hadn't been fully calculated at that time. And the key that Giovanni stole from Vulcan's lab last season was the literal key to deciphering Pi. Oh my God. So Captain Obi, he goes ahead and takes it upon himself to go talk to the captains of the 4th and the 2nd to get them on their side for what's coming. Because what's coming is catastrophic. Warning, warning, this is an emergency. A ginormous pillar has risen out of the Pacific Ocean, estimated to be 500 meters tall, along with a ginormous inferno. Authorities are currently investigating this phenomenon. Bro, inferno, spontaneous human combustion, pillars, death, Adola. This is one of the worst anime universes you can ever live in, ever. But anyways, man, Captain Obi grants Shinra permission to go face this giant titanic inferno in the Pacific. So he flies his happy, optimistic ass off. The 2nd, which is the military branch of the Fire Force, they're dispatched immediately. And they're the first ones to make contact with this big ass inferno. They start to shoot hella fire missiles at that motherfucker, and they don't even phase it. He shoots an EMP back at them and dismantles all of their machinery. So they bring out the big guns. My nigga Juggernaut, he didn't really get killed in the last season. He just got his arm blew off, but they replaced that bitch with a cannon. And that, his cannons. He was ready to cannon his cannon and disintegrate that inferno, but Shinra decided to jump in front of his cannon and ended up getting cannoned into the water. Yeah, because big ass pillar can't be hit with cannons. Something about that just can't happen. Probably would cause the cataclysm to begin instantly. Oh, did I mention it was Company 2 that was first to pull up? No, it was actually Hajime Industries and one of their top dogs, alongside Kuro. The only pyrokinetic, in my opinion, that can possibly even stand a chance against Benimaru Shimon. And third to arrive on the scene is the 4th Division. They actually arrive right on time because the Inferno shoots a ginormous fireball directly at the city. Luckily, that guy from the 4th with the whistle is there and he gives everybody around a buff. So a bunch of buildings get burnt down, but nobody dies because fighting fires and saving lives is what they do. The 4th Division hit that motherfucker with a combo attack that ripped off his gooning arm. And Juggernaut been hitting his ass with Kaioken Ki Blast for 2 minutes straight. Kuro decided to jump right on top of the giant and fill him up with his black smoke. Pause. He found a way to torment the beast from the inside out because, you know, that's what his freaky ass likes to do. And that's exactly what he did. I ain't gonna lie, he one-shotted the beast. It was a spectacle. Beautiful. Peak. And as all this is going down, Sho just pulled up with hella aura, and Fairy pulls up with zesty aura, and they get to boxing in the sky. It's a pretty cool duel. Arrow shooting her arrows with perfect precision to make sure Sho doesn't fall out of the sky, because of course she doesn't want him to die. That would mean missing a chance to wipe his ass later on. Fucking ultimate glazer. Sho, would you like me to chew your food for you, baby? Sho ends up fighting off Fairy. He saves Shinra, and then he just vanishes again. And I know I said Kuro one-shotted that creature, but he actually didn't. It took him a few shots. But that's just because he wanted to weaken it enough that he can actually enjoy the fight. You know, he likes to beat up on weak things. And after Kuro disintegrates this titan, its essence drips back into the water and flows directly into the pillar behind it. Okay, and with all that being said, we're coming to the end of the video finally. One more thing I gotta tell you about. Let me tell you what this freaky motherfucking thing is right here. This damn being is a creature that traveled over with the insects from the Adola. Landed on a planet full of humans going through a great cataclysm and immediately starts stabbing niggas. And then he killed St. Raffles and took over his body and started the church. Not only did he do that, he's the one that trapped the blonde hair girl inside of Amaterasu. So with that being said, I have 2 questions. Who's gonna fight this nigga? And if they do fight this nigga, does he die? Me personally, I'd be the last one to be like, okay, let me fight the demon directly from Adola. Let's just call Benimaru Shimon. Call Benimaru. Let him go all out. But yeah, this guy and the evangelist, I'm pretty sure they're like in game who we're gonna have to defeat. And there's 2 more things that do happen at the end, but I want to save them for you to go watch yourself. Please go watch Fire Force Season 3. It was one of the most peak things I've ever seen in my life. I need you to go see it. I love you. This is Anime Outside the Box. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Peace out.